Okay, from the title, I'm sure you can tell that we are going to be talking about monster King Orochi and why I thought he was pretty disappointing as a villain, or rather as a monster that was supposed to kind of top the hype of Boros. But before we get into all that jazz, make sure you leave a like on this video because it takes like 0 seconds, and why the hell not, it helps the video to get recommended and, you know, all the algorithm stuff. But let's actually get into the damn video. Right, for the people who do not read the One Punch Man manga, I suggest you leave the video if you don't want to be spoiled and are waiting for season 3 of the anime to air, which is coming out in approximately like 70 years. I'm joking, but season 3 is taking a damn long time to even be announced, but that's besides the point. The point is, I know the anime onlys have been kind of introduced to Orochi and may click on this video, so I'm being considerate and warning you guys that yes, there are going to be spoilers in this video. But now let's actually start talking about why Orochi was pretty underwhelming as a villain. First off, I know this may sound a little dumb and infantile, but Orochi lacked that cool factor to him. Just comparing him to other quote-unquote villains or antagonists of the series such as Boros and Garo, compared to them, Orochi is really fucking lame. He was just this hulking monstrosity that had absolutely no flair to him, or as I said earlier, the cool factor. This isn't even the main reason why he was disappointing. This is just kind of a side reason or extra reason why he was underwhelming. He was just really lame looking. Now let's get into the actual first main reason he felt underwhelming. Orochi, I'm sure we can all agree, did not live up to his hype at all. Psykos, or at the time Goro, said something along the lines of the peak of being or the ultimate monster, and of course I understand this plays into the whole comedic aspect of One Punch Man, where these crazy monsters are described as, you know, the king of the multiverse or something along the lines of that, and end up getting one punched by Saitama. I get it, it's meant to be ironic and funny, and it certainly is, but in Orochi's case it was a little different. Orochi was already established as one of the main faces in the Monster Association arc. He was meant to almost, you know, be the final villain of the arc, but as we all know, spoiler alert, it was actually Garo, but nevertheless, he was still a major villain in the Monster Association arc, and he just didn't live up to that title or position. Orochi, although having this title, still lost to Saitama in pretty much a matter of moments, which is completely different to when Saitama fought Boros. I will admit that Boros was completely destroyed by Saitama in the end, but Boros' fight against Saitama seemed a lot longer and much more interesting than the fight between Orochi and Saitama. You guys tell me in the comments if I'm being stupid, because I don't know, but the length of the fights to me was so obviously different. However, I will admit that Orochi is definitely one of the strongest monsters we have seen in the series, but I feel like the fact that Orochi was the next quote-unquote strong monster after Boros just made my expectations skyrocket. I was expecting an even better fight between Saitama and Orochi, but I just didn't get that. Maybe when it's animated I may see the fight differently, but I doubt that will happen due to the fact that I like the manga better than the anime anyway, which means even when the fight is adapted, I probably won't see it any differently. Now, the next reason Orochi felt disappointing was due to him fusing with Psykos. Now, don't get the wrong idea, the fusion was pretty cool, but in all honesty it did kind of come out of nowhere, but nevertheless, as I said already, it was cool. Let's be honest, Orochi wasn't really the main one utilizing this fusion. It was pretty much only Psykos, which just makes Orochi look like he's taking the back seat, which is what happened, because after this fusion, after he was defeated by Saitama, he took the back seat for the rest of the entire arc, which is just, how do I say this? Pathetic. That's all I can describe it. Boros at least used his last resort, which was the collapsing Star Roaring Cannon, but Orochi did none of that. He just put up what seemed like a fight and just died. Now, pretty much what I'm trying to say is, even though Orochi did technically come back in the form of a fusion with Psykos, it still felt like he was just in the background acting like Psykos' puppet. In a way, he actually was when you really think about it in hindsight. Orochi was just being played and was under the control of Psykos the whole time, which again leads to my next point, which is the fact that Orochi lacked the sense of individuality and actually just character in general, due to Psykos having already brainwashed him for years. Now, don't get me wrong, Although Orochi was underwhelming, he still achieved one thing that only Boros could so far in specifically the One Punch Man manga, which was to actually stay conscious after a punch from Saitama. Now, admittedly, the punch Saitama performed on Orochi was only a normal punch, whereas the punch on Psykos was a quote-unquote serious punch, if I'm not mistaken. Although I do vaguely remember that Saitama did say he did hold back on that quote-unquote serious punch that he performed on Boros. But nevertheless, I'm not going to take any credit away from Orochi for actually staying conscious after a normal punch from Saitama, because no other monster in the manga has been able to do that apart from Boros. The reason I haven't made this video earlier was for two reasons. One being, I was afraid some of you will blindly click the dislike button without watching the video, and I kind of understand why you would do that, because you may think I'm just being harsh, but it's the truth. And don't get me wrong, I definitely think Orochi is strong. It's just the fight and his main overall involvement in this arc that was underwhelming to me and just disappointing in general. And second of all, I wanted to wait until Orochi officially died before I made this video, because there was like remnants of Orochi left that fused with Psykos, and now Tatsumaki finally killed him off in like the last chapter. So here I am making this video. But that's pretty much it for this video. If you liked the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe with notifications turned on and set to all. And apart from that, I will see you in my next video.